We're going to be looking at the IP phone as a standalone networking device. We'll be able to see some system status information, as well as doing some basic configuration right from the phone itself. To start by looking at this, we can see right on the screen that it does have the current IP address, 172.16.201.5. We can see other networking information and get other information or versions about the programs. We hit the menu button, which is the middle button over here, and I can arrow down to status. The first option is network status, so I hit the menu button again, and it tells me that I'm getting a DHCP address. It tells me that my IP address is 172.16.201.5. It's not doing IP version 6. My MAC address is listed here as well. My subnet mask 255.255.240.0. Default gateway 172.16.192.1, and a couple DNS servers. To hit back to go through some of these menus, sometimes you have a back option, other times you can use the left arrow key. I'm going to use the left arrow key. It brings me back to the main status screen. If I scroll on down through the status screen, I'm able to see various applications and BIOS and firmware and operating system version numbers. The main one that we do look at is the program, and that is roughly equivalent to the operating system, such as Windows 7, Windows 8, and it even has subversions, so it'd be like Windows 7 Service Pack 1. We can upgrade these, update the firmware, and we'll be taking a look at that later on. So that's where we can get status about our current phone information. There's a lot of other things that we can look at under status as well. I can hit the left arrow key to get out of menus. If I go into a menu and I want to get out, I can also pick up the handset and then put it back down, and that takes me out of the menus as well. The next thing I want to look at with just working with the menus is being able to reset the phone back to factory defaults. There's times that we get a phone, we're not sure the status of it, what settings are where. We might just want to completely reset it and start from scratch. To do that, we hit the menu button and we arrow down to config. I hit the menu button again to select config, and I get a factory reset option. I click the select button, and now I'm using these buttons across the bottom. Are you sure you want to perform the factory reset? Yes, I do. Click OK. You will lose your configuration settings. Confirm to continue, and click OK again. It's going to reboot, and it can take quite a while to actually reboot. After it gets done rebooting, you can see that it does actually come up with a new IP address. Later on, it's going to be very important when we work with remote administration of this to always pay attention to what that IP address is. It changes frequently, or can change frequently, and very likely we could be actually reprogramming somebody else's phone. So always check that out and keep track of that. Say we did want to change that IP address. Going under status, if I hit the menu, go to status, and look under network status, I do see it's DHCP and given an IP address. If I want to change that to something else, I'd go back under the menu, just hitting the menu, and arrow all the way down to network. When I hit network, I have several network options. They're not the clearest as far as what it's asking for. Like, for example, the very first one, IP setting. IP setting is just telling it that by default, as it's showing, that it's going to use DHCP. I need to go down to static IP, and I need to select that option again. Select that by hitting the selection button. So it doesn't really show you. If I hit the select button on IP setting, though, I can see that I did in fact use static IP. I can use the left arrow key to get out. I don't need to do anything with the next setting, but for the IP setting, this is the IP address that I want to configure for this phone. To do this, I want to backspace over the existing IP address, and that one's just put in there by default. That's not what DHCP gave you before. To work with the classroom, I'm going to be using a 172, and I'm going to be using the asterisk key as the dot, so 172.16. Dot, and I'm going to be using the 207 range for this for these classes. So it's 207 dot, and then we're using a 1, and then your computer workstation number. So row 1, computer 1 would be 11, so this would be 111. For the instructor workstation, it's going to be 00, so my IP address is going to be 172.16.207.100. When everything's set, you click OK and arrow down to the net mask. The net mask is the subnet mask. For the school's network, it's 255.255.240.0. I click OK. I arrow down again to the default gateway. Backspace over those. The default gateway is 172.16.192.1. Click on OK. Go down to DNS servers. The school DNS servers are 172.16.16.140, and the second DNS server would be 172.16.16.141. That's a lot of typing. If you want to just use the Google's DNS servers, that would be fine. That would be 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. I enter that information, and that's really all I need to enter. Here's an example where I have back as a menu item, so I can hit the select button on back, or I can just hit the left arrow key. Either way, it's going to tell me that anytime you make an IP configuration changes at all, it's going to want to reboot your phone. So I'm going to click reboot, and it's going to take a few minutes again to reboot. After it reboots, it's going to show you that you have your new IP address, 172.16.207.100. To verify the rest of your networking configuration, you can click on the menu button, arrow down to status, arrow down, click on network status, and now you can see that for IP setting it's a static IP address, and you can see your other settings, your MAC address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS1, DNS2. And that is configuring your phone as a standalone device using the keypad.